Cricket Atal. It's a website. It's a podcast.
Pete, it's a way of life. Okay, it's Gideon Haig over here.
Peter Lawler over here.
And welcome to Cricket Atal, your independent cricket podcast. 25 days of cricket, Pete. It's not meant to
Test
be like
cricket,
this, is it?
Gideon. Test cricket.
We might have to get used to 5-day test matches again. And it finished on a resounding note last night. I don't know how many of you other fans were watching, but I hope you were. An extraordinary 56 minutes of cricket at the Oval yesterday, reminiscent of Test cricket in its best traditions. All the results possible, right down to the last ball, and I think a worthy winner and a worthy tire of the series in India. Pete, how did you see it?
Yeah, I think 3-1 would never have done justice to that series had England won that test match. But for a long time, it looked like it was going to be 3-1. In fact, I'd given up on India on day 4 of that test match. I thought when Brooke and Root started making all those runs, I thought, that's it. You know, this is gone. But they didn't quite hold their nerve, did they, England, in some ways? As good as India were on those last, in those last 2 sessions, England almost choked, I reckon.
Well, the same capacities that enable them to conjure miracle wins mean in a different context have the ability to undermine them in positions of overwhelming strength.
Yeah, but
they play the one way, don't they? Although it was interesting afterwards to hear Brooke saying that he regretted his shot. It's to get out in the second innings.
Yeah, he looked like he did at the time as well, didn't he?
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
The reason I say that, and perhaps it was down to some very good tactics by India on that last day, but Smith, I think, had 2 from 20 deliveries, Bethel 5 from 31 deliveries. I mean, I know that they're not exactly frontline baseballers, but that you could feel it constricting, couldn't you, on that last day? They bowled beautifully, India. Their tactics were outstanding, I thought.
They did. And, I mean, just wasn't it absolutely perfect with all the factors going into that final day? The influence of the roller, the imminence of the second new ball, the fact that it was 25 days in that Siraj had almost, just kept coming. The absence of Pant and Bumrah, the stands. I mean, what other sport in the world fills an entire ground for what is guaranteed to be a fraction of a game?
It is interesting that you mentioned that because it brought back memories of the MCG.
Didn't it?
This summer. That epic test in Melbourne with the crowd coming in on the last day. I don't know how they do it in England. Do they do it on a donation or do you have to buy it?
It was £20 to get in, and I think £1 for kids. They don't sell these tickets in advance. There's no point in selling 5-day tickets in advance because test matches so seldom get through to the last day.
Corporate boxes were empty, I noticed in the crowd.
But if you were, if you're a cricket enthusiast and if you had a stake in the game and you were anywhere near the Oval, you absolutely had to be there.
Yeah. And the Oval is one of my favourite cricket grounds.
It is, isn't it?
There's just something about the Oval, isn't it? Its situation there. I mean, the gasometer's kind of been ruined, but at least it's still kind of vestiges of a gasometer, and the school's still there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. And the ground is still recognisable from the as the ground where Trumper played that immortal shot captured by George Beldam. You can still see the streetscape, the opening in the sky. There's a powerful sense of continuity at the Oval that makes it a match, I think, for Lords.
Yeah. I agree.
The test matches at the Oval remind you of previous test matches of the Oval.
Yes. Yeah. Perhaps more so than Lords, because in some ways Lords has been uprooted. Yeah, well, you have to take your hat off like everybody else to Siraj, don't you? I mean, it was a 5-test series, and to get through the 5 tests, he was the one who stood up at the end. He was sort of the. We all assumed that he would be the understudy to Bumrah. In fact, worried about what sort of support Bumrah would have. In this series, but they only got 2 tests out of Bumrah, India, and 14 wickets.
3.
3, was it?
Yeah. Yep.
3. And England, of course, didn't get much out of Archer. But there's something I really like about Siraj doing the press conferences in his native, in Hindi.
Yeah.
It's great. And leaving it to DK to have to translate at the end.
That was a brilliant final interview, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? I thought that was a classic of its time.
So good.
Yeah,
it was because it was all in the tone, wasn't it? Even if you couldn't understand what he was saying, it was all in the tone.
It didn't matter that it was in Hindi. No. And I actually thought, you know what? If the BCCO really wanted to flex its muscles, it could do that. It'd say, you know what? You guys can all learn Hindi if you want to listen to the. I'd be up for that, wouldn't you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. No, he's really won my heart, Siraj. We've seen him play we've seen him play pretty well down here, but how many wickets did he get? 23 wickets in the end.
I think the thing about him, I mean, he clearly, at times he can seem quite kind of over the top, bit theatrical, bit melodramatic, but he's consistent. We now know that he just throws everything at every single occasion. He doesn't do it some days and not others. Right. That's just the way that he plays. And, he was the perfect bowler for those conditions. And again, last time we all thought the new ball was going to be crucial. In the end, they didn't take the new ball because the old ball just started hooping. And the balls have been just this incredible irritant all summer. Just getting in the way, ducking the number of times you've seen the balls pass through the handcuffs. But all of a sudden, the ball comes alive. And what other game is the ball a character in? It was like its own miniature drama. What's the ball going to do? What's the weather going to do? Let alone the players.
I liked Root's take on Siraj.
Yeah,
did he say he really is a nice lad? It's hard to take him seriously when he gets angry out there. I mean, I believe him when he's angry.
Yes,
I don't think he's putting it on.
I think. Look, the other thing is that, as you say, it would have been a travesty had England gone up 3-1. In the same way as I think it would have been a travesty had India drawn their series in Australia, which they could have potentially have done on that last day in Sydney. There was a possibility that India, if they bowl well enough, if Bumrah had been there on the last day in Sydney, it's possible that he could have had another day out and India could have retained the Border Gavaskar Trophy, but it wouldn't have felt quite right, would it? There's a certain karmic result in every series that sometimes isn't betrayed on the scoreboard.
No, they would have burgled it. What did you think about it in terms of India's captaincy? I thought it was an amazing series.
I mean, he's just a joy to watch, isn't he?
Yes.
Just when you think elegance has gone out of the game, when you think it's just become completely power obsessed, he sort of marries new age power and ancient touch because he is a pleasure to watch. It doesn't matter whether he's 200 or he's 10. There's a beautiful shot not far away and you daren't take your eyes away.
No, there's a poetry about some of those shapes he makes, isn't there? Yeah. About the way he bats and his leadership.
Well, look, I think we always tend to overestimate, strategic genius in captains. We overinvest in the idea of brilliant field placings and superb bowling changes. 90% of captaincy is what you're doing off the field and how your dressing room is cohering. Yeah. And by that measure, I think Shubman Gill comes through really well. This is a team that never stopped believing at any stage. Every player who turned up to a press conference or did an interview sounded really, really positive about the team's prospects.
Yeah, and that was exactly the leadership I was asking about. So I'm glad you answered that way. It's an interesting progression of captaincy styles. I hadn't thought about it until you started saying it. But, in a way, he has blended the last two captains and perhaps needed to do that in the absence of both of them in this series. And this is quite an effort for India to come away with a draw when they've lost Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and who's the bowler? Ashwin.
Yeah, yeah,
of course,
yes.
I mean, and perhaps they came away with a draw because they were bold enough to make those moves as well.
Although I think in a way they made the right choice.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think Coley would have fitted in this team. I don't think Rowett's game was fraying in the last 18 months. As cruel as it is, Anno Domini had rendered the verdict, and I think they've made the right moves. Now, maybe that's to Gambia's credit, but that people knew enough about Shubman Gill from the inside to suggest that he was the superior captaincy candidate to Bumrah. That was a nettle to grasp too, wasn't it? Because under Bumrah, India had been so convincing in Australia. He had made such a case for captaincy, but understanding that the test match was the test series was concertinaed to 46 days, and knowing that they couldn't rely on Bumrah to play in every game, they made the decision to go with the batter. On the basis of his captaincy in the IPL. I mean, every captaincy decision is a shot in the dark because you simply don't know until the guy is doing it whether he's got the capacity to do it. It's always an educated guess. I guess the big test for Gill, the next big test will be whether he can maintain his authority as captain when his own batting form is under pressure. I mean, he's obviously capable of maintaining his form despite the distractions. But every batsman goes through a period when when just for reasons of bad luck, for reasons of a particular bowler, for reasons of a particular scenario, runs are coming harder than they should. I mean, Gill lost his place in Australia, didn't he, for a test match? That was salutary for him in a way to know that his form was being scrutinised. He only averaged 35 coming into the role, and all of a sudden, he's twice the player that he was simply as a player in the ranks.
Sometimes when you fell the old trees, you let the sunlight in a little bit.
Yeah.
And he stepped up. It's not unusual. It's not unusual, I think, for captains to step up with the bat early in their career.
Yeah,
good captains.
Well, I mean,
but as you say, the test is yet to come. But 400s in a series. I mean, seriously, 754 runs, average 75. The other big contributor with the bat was Jadeja.
Yeah.
5 half centuries. It's amazing consistency, isn't it, in one century?
516 runs at 86.
Yeah.
He hasn't had much of a series with the ball, but I don't think it's been a bad series. And brilliant in the field. Always brilliant in the field. Always fantastic to watch. He made a brilliant save last night on the boundary when runs were at a premium. He's absolutely guaranteed to do that. There's no sign of his aging, is there? Unlike as there was with Kohli and Rowett. And even Ashwin to an extent, you could see the years catching up with him. But Jadeja, just he's still box office. He's still institutional memory, and he's still got the appetite for it. He's still got the hunger. Pete, it's the question on everybody's lips.
What that, kid?
What is Saily?
I'm glad you asked. Because Saily is a new eSim service app brought to you by Nord Security. The people who provide the security for my laptop.
God, I love Nord Security. Apparently, you can choose from several affordable eSIM plans in over 150 countries.
And as I discovered recently, if you've got a Saily SIM, you'll have connection whenever you need it, even if you're in far-flung Caribbean islands.
Tell us more, Pete. Tell us more about your Saily.
Had an eSIM, Gideon, the course of television history would have changed.
Tell us about your Saily experience in the Caribbean, Pete.
Well, my Saily experience in the Caribbean was outstanding. For a start, when I got off a very long overseas flight. I think I flew for 15 days to get to the Caribbean. The last thing I want to do is line up at a kiosk and buy an eSIM of somebody who I don't know using currency conversion that I'm not familiar with and I can't necessarily trust. I sail through that departure lounge, arrivals hall. I get straight into my waiting Cricket Etal limousine and I turn on my phone and I activate my Saily SIM and I'm connected. Like
Did
that.
you sail through with Saily, Pete? That's why I'm on the big bucks.
Saily, take me away.
Well, with Saily, an eSIM can be installed only once, eliminating the need for users to install a new eSIM for each country.
That's right.
You can
and
save
you don't
time.
need a PIN. You don't need a PIN. It's an eSIM, no more.
You avoid scams, you minimise your roving fees, you stay connected. It's compatible with all iOS and Android devices, and there's 24/7 support. And I know, Pete, you and I, we provide each other with 24/7 support, but we can't do it all. I'm absolutely useless with phones, so you really need that Saily hotline.
Yeah, well, I had to use it when I was in the UK, and they fixed me up straight away. Answered the phone, told me what I was doing wrong. I was just in there on pushing that button in settings and that button, and hey presto, I was connected.
Gee, we can't say fairer than that. I mean, that's just an epic endorsement from Cricket Etal. We don't say these things lightly on Cricket Etal.
We don't. No,
we are sparing with our praise.
Are we still providing discount to Saily customers?
I think we might be, actually. I think
Could we do that?
I think if you go to saily.com/Cricket Etal and use the code Cricket Etal, you'll get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase.
Wow.
15%.
That'd erase a Donald Trump tariff.
So anyway, go out there, buy a plan, install the eSIM, activate the plan, and enjoy the full Saily experience. Cricket Etal. Tell them Cricket Etal sent you.
Sail on, Silverbird. I want to ask you about Damascena's LBW of Overton.
Oh, you know how much I hate those, Pete, those hero LBs.
I loved it. I love the way he gives them. The calculated, slow. He does. There's no tell. I reckon there's no tell. You just wait for it.
He did give a bit of a gulp before doing it. He was kind of, you could see him sort of ticking off his checklist. These are all the reasons why it might not be out, and eventually he goes without. But I didn't leave with a good feeling about that decision.
It wasn't a howler.
That signified to me that it was going to be India's day when you're getting those 50-50s. It was sliding, but look, in the end, justice has been done, so you can't complain too much. What do we make of England, Pete?
Extraordinarily good cricket team, I think, but not a perfect cricket team. I think there's a few little flaws there. Perhaps inability on a couple of occasions to bat the game out. Is that lacking in their game? I mean, I brought that up, that I thought that their approach changed when the series was on the line again. But which was the other match where they were bowled out inside when they just couldn't hang on for a draw.
Yeah, they bowled out in 50 overs, and they really shouldn't have been. To me, the worries are over the bowling. They still look flat. Wokes has ended up playing in every Test match, but he's. I suspect that might have been his last Test match. I mean, at the venue of his first Test match, I reckon that might have been his last, because I just can't see how they bring him to Australia, considering his record in Australia.
Yep.
He's been a very good, reliable, steady cricketer, a decent bloke, a good dressing room presence, but at this age, he's not going to get any better, and I don't think he's going to do any better in Australian conditions. And Carse has taken 9 wickets at 61 in the series. He's a good bowler. He's a handy bat, but but he's at best a support bowler. And
Tongue had a reasonable series to my mind.
but he's just all over the shop, isn't he?
Yes.
He bowls wicket-taking deliveries, but he also bowls a lot of dross, and he could easily get picked off in Australia. Stokes was fantastic.
He's critical
to see
for their
him
bowling,
contributing
isn't he?
as a bowler, but every Test match just takes so much out of him. You know, it's almost like they can't afford to bring him to Australia, but they can't afford not to. He's not going to get through 5 Test matches out here. But my biggest concern is around the spin. You know, they've ended up not coming in with a spinner at the Oval. They've finally accepted that they don't really have a Test quality spinner in England. Bashir's taken 10 wickets in this series at 54. Yes, he's won a game. He's bowled Siraj out at Lords. It's a great moment in his career. But he's marked time at best in this series. And I think England in Australia, they haven't won since Graham Swan, and they need a spinner of Graham Swan class if they're going to be competitive out here. Yeah,
they're going to have to sort of assemble a meal across the series, aren't they, from bits and pieces? I mean, you can see that that's got to be their plan, doesn't it? They can't expect an Archer to play 5 Tests, or a Wood to play 5 Tests, or a Stokes to play 5 Tests.
I found it interesting that Lyon the other day said that Leach was still the best spinner in England.
What did you think of that?
Yeah. I'm actually inclined to agree with him. He didn't do a lot wrong to lose his place, and he does have prior experience of bowling in Australia, and I think his face does still kind of fit. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring both him and Bashir out here, and leave the decision till the last minute. But Dawson's a handy cricketer, but he's not finger spin. It's of his kind. I think is just not going to be a threat in Australia.
Joe Root might end up bowling a few overs.
I dare say. Yeah.
I like Joe Root. Gee, he's a good cricketer, isn't he? 537 runs in the series. Bowled a bit. 3 centuries.
Yeah.
A half century. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, was more of the same from Root. We've grown accustomed to that level of excellence. Isn't it amazing his record since COVID? It's almost like he used COVID as an opportunity to fine-tune his game, to work on his fitness. Yeah. He's a fitter player than he was 5 years ago. And I think that counts where, batting in Test matches is an endurance sport. He just looks stronger.
He does. But I would posit that actually COVID broke him. And he had to rebuild himself after COVID. Maybe. I just have visions of that route that toured Australia during COVID, with the long distance stare, the shit,
We all had the long distance stare during COVID. Yeah. I'm not going to point the finger at anybody else.
There's a fantastic article by Cam Ponsonby.
Indeed.
On the site this morning.
Indeed.
I recommended it to Sue over breakfast, and she thought it was great too. Yes. The nausea of a run chase, he writes,
Yeah.
I thought it was quite good.
Cameron's done a great job of covering the series from ringside for Cricket Atal. We're very grateful to him. We've had a lot of excellent contributions of late, including from our friend Dan Toomey, who's been exercising his interest in the intersection of cricket and aesthetics, of which I heartily approve. And I entered into the aesthetics racket yesterday too, Pete, with a contribution on the Westpac's contribution to the Australian cricket team.
What was the headline that you wrote, Gideon?
Place.
What was your headline again?
Cricket and shitified.
Cricket and shitified. I looked that word up in the dictionary. It doesn't exist.
Oh, no, it's in Macquarie Dictionary. It was the Macquarie Dictionary word of the year last year, and frankly, everyone knows what it means. Oh, right. Really.
I've got the op shop edition of Macquarie. It was published in 1978. They are true. What's upset you? The logo on the shirts.
Yeah, look, the logo has its place, and in some ways it's a design classic, but it's in the wrong place, and it's way too large, and it's the wrong colour, and it's just ugly. And I'm all about. I think Test cricket is a beautiful game.
Yes.
It's a feast for the eye. And one of the fundamentals of that game is that the only thing that should be red on the cricket field is the ball. Because that's where all the energy and all the attention is dedicated. Yeah. This creation of a sort of all these distractions, all this clutter, all this visual clutter in the game, including numbers and names on players' backs, that shits me to tears. But it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. All these allegedly smart people can do no better than simply to drop a giant logo on a white shirt. That's it. It could have been done by AI. For all the imagination that's gone into plonking the thing there. All Cricket Australia had an eye to were dollar signs, and all Westpac had an eye to was corporate ego. Cricket's interests, once again, completely secondary. The spectacle's interests completely forgotten. There's sort of no one really seems to be thinking along those lines in cricket these days, to have some sort of transcendent idea of what looks good, what feels good, what exalts, what promotes, what excites us about Test cricket. There's no feeling for it. It just, and the event that they had last week, it just looked so stagey and so stale. Let's have a ride in the Westpac helicopter.
Did they really? I missed all of that.
It's just awful.
No.
Actually, have a look at the photo. Have a look at the photo on my
I'm
piece.
looking at it now.
I don't think Stark was there, and I certainly don't think Constas was there. I reckon he's been photoshopped. Both of them have been photoshopped into that image. Constas looks enormous. Constas looks taller than everybody else.
That's a very good point. He is tall, Constas, but he's not that tall. No.
Fake news.
Fake news, fake photo. That's not good. And, of course, who'd have thought that would happen? Who'd have thought, Gideon, that the Boston Consulting Group would recommend
extraordinary.
Selling off
Colour me amazed.
The BBL.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Do you really care who owns the BBL? How it's run?
Oh, I think the ownership structure matters a lot
in
terms of the idea of fan ownership. I think experiences of private ownership in Australian sport have been a pretty mixed blessing.
Come on, Jeffrey Edelston. People don't
and
know
I
Jeffrey
think
Edelston
the other problem, which no one's really pointed to, is what does it mean about cricket's tax status? If you turn a sport which is run on a not-for-profit basis and enjoys tax-exempt status into a nakedly for-profit endeavour, what does that mean about the value that it will escape from the game and vanish into the government exchequer? Anyway, just a thought.
Not really my strong point, taxation. No.
But I mean, cricket, sport in general, has a special status in Australian life, which is reflected in its taxation treatment. And you tamper with that at your peril, because when hundreds of millions of dollars are changing hands, frankly, the public deserve a share of that. The taxpayer deserves a share of that. I don't see any reason why private equity should be able to make out like bandits, taking advantage of the elevated position in Australian culture that sport enjoys.
The Adani model comes to the BBL. The BBL, cricket's Carmichael mind. Gideon, we lost a friend of the pod.
We did.
Recently.
We did. Yes.
Yes, it's quite sad. Tara Murley, wonderful woman.
Is the wife of our friend N. Murley.
Yes.
A long-time friend of the pod, friend of cricket, great
mother
family,
of Krishna
wonderful people.
And Cantor. Yes.
Yeah. Really, and much missed. We both had regular updates from Tara's son. We both had the opportunity to meet her in Chennai. She was a fantastic woman, an absolute dynamo, heritage architect, contributor to the public good, ornament to the game, will be much missed, and condolences to her family.
Yeah, no, beautiful woman, wasn't it? It was really nice to get that chance a couple of years ago and go and visit her in her home. You know, to have her as hostess, wonderful hostess. I saw in one of the obituaries for her that they described her as a humanist. I thought that was quite right too. She was very active in social causes and things like that. I read out there was a paragraph there that caught my eye. Tara was a compassionate soul whose life was a quiet yet profound testament to service, integrity, and posterity.
Oh God!
Well,
Right. Well, if only we could all live lives that way, according to those commandments.
A woman of great integrity. That's for the whole family. So sympathies from us.
Yes.
Well played, Tara.
I think that might be all we've got time for, Pete.
Okay, then.
It's been great
When's
to have
the
you
next
with us.
cricket? There's some one-day thing going on, isn't there?
Excuse me. The 100 starts on Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
And Harry Brook will be out there captaining the Northern Superchargers. Then he's got
Simon Cadich's team?
He's then got a white ball series against South Africa and against Ireland away. Then he's got to go to New Zealand for a white ball series. And only then does he get to play in the Ashes. So he's got a ton of cricket. What could possibly go wrong?
I'm looking forward to watching him bat in Australia this summer.
Yeah, me too.
It's going to be great.
Yep, he's a feast. Okay, that's all we've got time for on Cricket Atal. Been great to have you with us. We'll be back again next week. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.